I'm going to go ahead and flip on a PowerPoint presentation. I promise you it won't be super long because I personally hate when webinars are all PowerPoint presentations. But I'll just illustrate some points via PowerPoint and then we'll hop into like straight up teaching. Yes, Jamie, this is going to be recorded. I see a lot of people asking that. Yes, we will record it. We will email it out. But I do encourage you to stay and learn and be interactive because that really helps out a ton. And you might ask something that you wouldn't get to ask if it was on a replay. So it's a very good idea to stick around. So let me know if you guys can see on the screen. I've got a slide that says generating business from Google's 3-pack. Can you guys see that okay on the screen? Just give me like some 2s or something in the chat box and let me know you can see that. All right, awesome. So yeah, that's me in the corner. Probably a lot of you guys know who I am. I know that we've got probably quite a few people on here. Yes, Mike, this is live. So what we're going to be talking about today is the Google 3-pack. I've got an example of one of our listings on the screen right now for Waukesha HVAC contractor, and it's the one that's highlighted in the red brackets. So what I'm going to teach you guys how to do during this webinar is I'm going to teach you how to get someone into that 3-pack, into that box of map listings. Now, this was previously called Google Places. It's referred to as Google Maps. Used to be called a 7-pack. I guess Google just can't make up their minds, so they keep changing the name of it. But we're referring to it now as the 3-pack. It just seems to be the easiest way to address it, or Maps also is another easy way. So on the right of that, you're looking at some call tracking from my clients. What we do is we track all of the leads that we send our clients, and we forward them to them, and we provide them with a call report at the end of the month so that they can see exactly the kind of leads we generate for them. So I kind of just snapshotted from my account what some of those leads look like. My screen isn't moving. Can you guys see the leads on my screen and the Waukesha home heating? Let me know in the chat box. Okay. All right, great. Cool. Those of you guys, if you can't see it, maybe it's just lagging behind a little bit. Hopefully it'll catch up for you. So yeah, that's what we do, and that's what I'm going to teach you guys how to do on this call. So you definitely want to stick around. So why the 3-pack? I figured I would point out the benefits to this before we jump in. Quite frankly, it's easy, and that's why I chose a 3-pack. It's one of the easier to entry SEO things that I know how to do and that I've taught other students how to do because there's very little competition. You're competing against local business owners, and the reason why that is because unlike regular SEO, you need an address in order to even show up in the 3-pack. So, and it has to be a physical address, like it can't be like a PO box. We'll talk more about that later. But that eliminates so much of our competition, and we end up competing with local business owners who, guess what? They're busy running their local business. They don't have time to worry about this stuff. So unless they hire someone like me, or after this webinar, someone like you who has knowledge of this stuff and knows how to do it, I mean, the competition is just minimal. And that's one of the things we're going to cover is how to find these low competitive, low hanging fruit niches. I have listings that I've ranked 2, 3, 4 years ago, and I get paid on them every single month, but I've never had to touch them again since I set it up. So there's some initial work that goes into it to getting them set up, but if you pick the right niche, you don't have to really touch it again, which is really nice. The other reason I really like the 3-pack is because I'm very results oriented. When I sell something to someone, I sell based on results, and it's very important to me that I'm getting those results for the client. So if I'm telling them I'm going to increase their business, I'm going to try my hardest to increase that business and get that phone ringing. So the 3-pack gives me higher conversions. It shows the star ratings right in the listing. It has a phone number right there. It's mobile friendly, so it shows up on mobile devices. So we get higher conversions, and that leads to the phone ringing more for the client. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. If you don't make that happen, then you're not doing your job. And then fourth is it's really good money. Me and my students on average charge $1,000 per month to keep them ranked in the 3-pack. And that's average. I mean, I have clients that'll only bill $500 a month, and then I have students who bill upwards to $2,000 or $3,000 a month even, which is pretty insane. So it just depends on the niche you're targeting. Now, obviously, once you start billing more, you're talking about doing more work. You're entering a more competitive niche. So you can kind of decide after this webinar which direction you want to go with it. If you want to stay in the low-hanging fruit and charge somewhere around 500 or 1,000 a month, or if you want to start getting more competitive and charge more. I personally like the low-hanging fruit because I'd rather take on clients and not have to maintain them as much. So that's just my preference. Now, a quick disclaimer, because obviously, these are my results and I don't know you. I don't know your experience level. So I really can't guarantee that you're going to get the same results as me or any results at all for that matter. So I do have to give you that little disclaimer on the bottom, or that wouldn't be legal, right? So that being said, what you're looking at is not just another cool background like in the other slides. This is actually a photo I snapped inside my house yesterday morning. And I actually just purchased this new home. It's really cool. It's on the lake, and that's so you can see the lake in the background. And it's on 3 acres. So it's something that's really awesome. And I'm not actually showing you this to brag or anything, but I just purchased this home in the summer, and I'm actually very humble about my success and what I've done, because I grew up actually quite poor and didn't really have much money at all. In fact, 5 years ago, before I started doing this, I was driving around in a 1994 Nissan Maxima. That's literally a picture of my car. I was living in my brother's garage, so that was pretty nuts. I was working at Walmart at the time, and I was going to school full-time, and that's me actually playing in my band over on the left there. And, times were actually really, really tough. So I really come from, really humble beginnings, and I just really wanted to illustrate, what's possible when you implement stuff. And I'm going to give you just a quick background kind of my timeline. I'll do it on one slide really quickly, just so that you kind of know where I came from and what's possible, and then we'll jump into things. And also so you know why I'm qualified to be teaching this stuff too. I think it's important. So that's a picture of actually before I quit and went to nursing school. Or not quit, I got laid off. This is the heating company that I worked at, and that's kind of how I developed my passion for working with local business owners. I went in there every morning from 9 to 5, and I really thought that this was going to be like, the thing I'd be doing for the rest of my life, is working for this heating company and help take things to the next level for them. But business just got really slow, and I ended up getting laid off. So then I enrolled in nursing school, which is what I was telling you about before, and I was doing that full-time and working at Walmart part-time. And while I was promoting my band, which is why I showed you that picture, I stumbled across internet marketing. I wasn't looking for it. It's just like destiny came calling. So I was really skeptical of it. And the course that I bought had a lot to do with CPA marketing, and it also had some stuff to do with SEO. And, I made my first $20 online with CPA marketing, actually, which is kind of funny. And really, I didn't stick with that for really long at first, because $20 was enough to get my attention and prove to me that it was real, but I didn't pursue that, and that's not what made me go full time actually. What happened was I started learning SEO, and I learned how to rank in Google Maps. And from that point, I landed my first local client, which, guess what, was actually this heating and cooling company that I worked for. I went back to them and I said, hey, I'm trying out this new thing, and to be honest with you, I'm just learning how to do it. I really don't know what I'm doing yet, but I think that I can make it work, and I think that I can generate you some more business. So why don't you just let me work on this for your company for free? And when I make it happen, we'll work something out later on, and you can pay me later on. And obviously I'm here today talking about this because I ended up dropping out of nursing school, and I ended up pursuing this full time, and that was 5 years ago actually that I pursued this full time. Now, how did I end up teaching this stuff? How did I go from landing a bunch of clients? I landed a ton of clients doing exactly what I'm going to share with you. And I went from doing that to teaching it because I developed kind of a unique method along the way where I started owning my own assets doing the 3-pack rankings. And what I mean by that is I started ranking my own listings under my own name, basically, under like a generic name, and my own addresses and my own phone numbers. So I went and put out a course on exactly how I was doing that, and it kind of shocked everyone in the industry. No one really had heard about doing that before. It was something that I just had made up. So as far as I know, I'm the first person to have ever gone the kind of renting an address and leasing out the listing and selling leads. And that's really how I got my start, because I was afraid to really get out there and talk to business owners. So I started off just by selling the leads that my 3-pack listings were generating. So I'm going to show you how to do client SEO, and you can go and work with a client if you want. I'm also going to show you how I did that method with the lead gen, which is pretty cool. Neil says you could actually see my reflection in that picture. Yeah, I know, Neil. I thought it was a cool picture, actually, because you could see my reflection. But again, I just wanted to show you my beginnings and my history, because I think before you jump into a webinar with someone, it's kind of good to just kind of know where they came from, and, to just know that I come from humble backgrounds myself, and, I'm just a guy living in, Wisconsin. I don't live in Los Angeles or something and grew up in a wealthy home or anything like that. So now that said, do I have your 100% commitment to learn how to do this stuff? I want you guys to give this your all. If I'm going to pour my heart out to you and show you how I do this, I want to make sure you guys are going to give me your attention and, write some notes and actually learn how to do this stuff and apply it. Because right now, I mostly do this for the success stories, because I like hearing about people being successful. I got a lot of other things going on, and this is just kind of one thing that I enjoy doing, teaching this stuff. So all right, cool. Lots of people say yes. Let's rock and roll. So I'm going to get out of the PowerPoint. Like I said, I really can't stand webinars that sit in PowerPoint all day. So we're going to pop open my screen, and hopefully you can see it good. I'm on a really high resolution monitor, so I'll try to zoom up on things whenever I can to make sure that you can see it easily. Awesome. So I've got on the screen here Mailbox Rental Milwaukee. You remember the very first thing I told you when we started the webinar is when you want to rank in the Google 3-pack, you cannot use a PO box. It has to be a physical address. That being said, there are ways around this. Now, number one is you can just work with a client and use their address. But like I said, I got famous in the internet marketing community, so to say, because I really changed everyone's view on how to sell leads in the 3-pack. And that's because I was teaching everyone how to go out and rent mailboxes. What I taught everyone how to do in my very first course a few years ago is I taught them how to go to the UPS store and rent a mailbox. Anyone here remember this? Anyone here a student of that course from like 4 or 5 years ago? Okay, yeah, Sanoa's here. She remembers it. Yeah, lots of yeses. It was called Busy Business Bonanza. It's no longer out anymore. But no one had heard of doing that before. And I started teaching them about how I had like 10 listings at the time that I owned in the 3-pack. And I went out to the UPS stores and rented these mailboxes. And I was generating like 50, 60 leads per month on all these listings. And I was charging like between $20 and $30 a call, sometimes even $50 a call for each phone call that came in. So it was really unique and really interesting. The problem is after a while, a lot of students started getting hit and they started getting their listings taken down. Why do you think that happened? Because I was telling everyone to go to the UPS store, right? So it was pretty easy for Google to track them down because they were able to basically reverse engineer the footprint. They went to a lot of the UPS stores and looked if there were people like me setting up these listings, and then they took them down. So here's a way to avoid that and how to get around it. Now, if you don't like doing this, if you think that this is maybe a little bit misleading, I personally don't think so, because at the end of the day, you're still solving the solution for the customer. The customer comes into Google, searches for a snowplowing company, and you're still sending them to a snowplowing company. The only difference is you're basically playing the middleman. But if you don't want to do this, you just work with a client instead. But I figured I'd throw this in here as a little bonus, because for me, it was an easy way for me to get started without having to talk to anyone. So you can go into Google and type in Mailbox Rental Milwaukee. And I like to head into these little undercover yellowpages.com listings, or sometimes you'll see like the AOL.com yellow pages. And if you pop into stuff like this, you can find these lower key mailbox rental stores like Mail and More or like Wrap and Ship. Okay? And they're not franchises. As long as you don't go after franchises, you're going to stay under the radar. Suburban mailboxes, like there's tons of them out there, right? A lot of times laundromats will offer these mailbox rental services, or storage units will offer them. And basically it's just an extra way for that place to make some extra money. What they do is they rent you the box. It's about $30 every 6 months is what it is around my area. And for that $30, they give you a suite number basically. So it'll be their address, like 5464 North Port Washington Road, but it won't be a P.O. box. Instead of a P.O. box, it'll say number 123 or suite 123. And that's the difference. That's what you need if you're going to go the lead generation route. Now, I'm big on keeping my own assets, if I haven't been clear enough on that, because if the client doesn't pay, I want their phone to stop ringing instantly. Does that make sense? Give me some threes in the chat box if you're with me. If the client doesn't pay, I want that phone to stop ringing instantly. That's the problem with regular SEO. Regular SEO is you work with a client, you tell them you need like 60, 90 days to get their stuff to rank. And then what happens after you get them ranked? They say, I'm already ranked. What am I paying you for? You know? And you've already done all the work. You've already sacrificed your hard labor. That doesn't fly with me. So that's why I started doing things differently. So let's talk about if you do have to use the client's address. That's okay. I have a lot of clients I use their address. Okay? Because I don't want to go out and rent mailboxes. I have clients I work with overseas and stuff like that. I'm not going to go try and look for a mailbox rental over there. So what I do in that scenario is I always rent a tracking phone number no matter what, so that I can track their leads and forward them to them and send them call reports. You got to be about results, okay? If you want to change lives, if you want to change what you're doing with a customer, that's really how you get rich. That's how you get wealthy. That's how you make a lot of money, is you have to be changing lives. You have to be getting them results, okay? You can't just be all talk. So tracking phone numbers help you prove that. So CallFire is a good place to get one. Twilio is another place to get one. There's multiple platforms out there. You can just do a search for call tracking. They run you about $1 per month. Okay, it's a very minimal investment, $1 per month. And you're going to recoup that back from the client because you're going to be charging them way more than that every single month. So I see a lot of people throwing in some other suggestions of call tracking. And yeah, you can use whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. But I'm just giving you some options. So you can control that. But what else can you control? You can control the website, right? We can use the website to control and power the 3-pack rankings. So that means you need to register a new URL if you're going to use the client's existing listing. So to do that, I've got an easy way to do that. There's a site called Flawless URL that I put together. And if you want to head there and check it out, what I like to do is I like to, before I put in my keyword, I select this popular prepends generator and I type in the keyword or the phrase that I want to be in the URL. So I always try to look for a .com because I just feel it's more brandable. That being said, I'm not afraid to go after a .org or a .net too. I normally like to stick with one of those three though, but I prefer .coms. It just looks more brandable. So then I start typing in like a phrase that I might want to rank for, like reliable, or how about HVAC pros, or you could put in your city name too if you wanted. And then I hit generate domain names. And look, it attaches popular prepends onto it, like best HVAC pros is a good one. Okay? And it'll attach these popular prepends and tell you what's available so you can go register them. So that's a good way to get your own domain, and then you'll own the domain now and you'll own the phone number. So that's very crucial. All right? So that being said, let's jump into finding a low competitive niche, because that's kind of the next thing that's important. So before I consider entering a niche, there's a couple things that I take into consideration. So I've done a search here for dentist Menominee Falls, just to give you an example. The first thing that I take into consideration is, does it show a box of 3-pack of listings? I normally like to see this box show, because if it doesn't show, there's really no guarantee that it'll ever show unless it's already there. So I normally like to see it already there. So I'm going to show you another example I pulled up and researched ahead of time. Excavator West Bend. Do you see how there's no box here? This kind of scares me because there's no guarantee that there will ever be a box there. So I normally like to see a box there, and that's one of the first things I consider. The next thing I consider and I like to look at is the review count, okay? If I see everyone on here has like 30 reviews, they all have 5-star ratings, that starts to look a little competitive to me, right? I start to feel like, I don't know, I think I need to dig in a little bit further. So it's not that the techniques I'm going to show you wouldn't work. It's that I just personally don't want to do that much work. I don't want to go in and compete that much. It's just my preference. If that's your thing, then hey, go for it. But if you're a newbie coming into this, I would follow my guidelines. So let's show you an example of one that I definitely wouldn't be attacking. Dentist Chicago. Look at this. 4.9, 4.4, 4.9, 71 reviews, 33 reviews, 63 reviews. Do you see a difference, guys? Give me some fives in the chat box. Do you see a major difference? I mean, you don't have to be an expert to figure out, without even doing anything more, that this is a competitive area compared to the other one. Now, sometimes you'll find listings where they won't even have a website icon on it. And that means that they don't even have a website connected to their listing. When you see that, that really signifies low competition. That means that people are ranking without even their website there because there's just really not even anyone else coming close. So if you see that, that really is low competition. So from this point, if I say, okay, this looks good, the review count looks good, you know, I want to look into this a little bit more, then I start to reverse engineer my competitor's backlinking profile. Because if I'm going to work with a client and I'm going to be doing a lot of work on the website and my own website, I need to really see what our competition is doing. So it's a very systemized approach. There's really no guesswork involved at all in ranking in the 3-pack. It's very do this, do that, do this, do that. A lot of people think that no one knows Google's secret sauce, and it's actually very, very easy on what they want. You know, it's why a lot of SEOs out there are making so much money, because it's very systematic. So what you want to do is you want to open up their website. And this part is optional. I mean, you can pretty much determine that it's going to be low competition just based off of the first criteria I gave you. But if you really want to cross your T's and dot your I's, so to say, then I like to use Majestic. It's majestic.com. This is a paid tool. I think they might let you use some searches for free. Otherwise, it runs you like $120 every 4 months. So it's really not too bad. But this will let you really dig in and dive in even deeper into your competitor. So what you do is you punch in their website in this tool, and you hit this orange icon, and look at this. This is amazing. It shows you how many backlinks they have. So now I'm really convinced that this is very, very low competition. They have one referring domain. Google's indexing one backlink. Okay? And a backlink, for those of you who don't know, it would be like if CNN wrote an article about your site, and then at the end of the article they said, hey, go check out Paul's site, and then they click it and then are taken to your site. That would be like a backlink. So Google uses backlinks and the quality of them to determine who is going to show up on the first page a lot of times. And that'll cross over into the 3-pack as well, along with some other factors. Sometimes you can not even do backlinking, but it's one of the factors, and it's one of the factors I like to enforce because I'll backlink my website and the website I own, so I can control that. Does that make sense? I wanna increase the rank of things that I own. So what I like to see is a referring domain number of under 25, because that signifies to me that the competition is doable. And if I can get even less, like this case is just 1, that really looks good. Like that's amazing to me. Okay? So, that being said, let's check out what a competitive one would look like. Now, I haven't researched this one ahead of time, and they might not be ranking because of their backlink profile. They might be ranking because of other factors, but let's just check it out. We'll go off the cuff here and see. So I'm going to copy and paste their URL into Majestic as well. So this was the Chicago dentistry place. Let's see how they compare. Right? Way different scenario here. 33 referring domains. Now, once I start to see this number creep up, I start to look at the quality of the backlinks as well. Because if I notice that it's low quality backlinks, then I can determine that, okay, maybe they have this many backlinks, but they're all low quality. So, you know, it's not always who has the most wins, it's who has the most high quality. So in some cases, you can go after, you know, a few high quality ones if they have really crappy backlinks, and you can outrank them that way. So here's how you determine the quality. There's kind of 2 ways. There's a quick way, which is just looking at these 2 numbers, the trust flow. the trust flow, and the citation flow. If you look at those two numbers and they're above 10, that's one thing that signifies if they're high quality. And then how close together they are is the second thing that would signify it. Like if these were like 20 apart or something crazy like that, that would signify to me that they were really, really low quality backlinks. So when you see them above 10 and closer and together in numbers, that kind of shows you. So I can tell, that these probably are pretty good backlinks. And if I wanted to, I could even go in further and click the backlink tab, and I could actually look at each backlink. And the way you would do that is you would just click the site that you want to check out, open it up, and you can download this Moz toolbar. Let me turn it on. This Moz toolbar, it's a free download. It's a Chrome plugin. You can just type it in Google, and it'll tell you what the domain authority is. In this case, it's 61. Now, websites are judged on their domain authority, and I don't think I really need to get into that right now. I'll just tell you that any domain authority above like 10, 20 is pretty good. So when you see a domain authority of like 60, that means it's a really, really good backlink. Okay? So that's how you can dive in a little bit deeper. But to be honest, you really don't even need to go that far. I mean, you really can pretty much just use common sense and look at this and say, okay, this is really low competition. I'm going to start here. So let's just say you decide to start here, right? You're working with a client. What's next? Well, you need to head into your Google My Business dashboard. So this will be under your Gmail account. What I like to do now, and I didn't do this in the past, but what I like to do now is I like to create one business Gmail account and use that for managing all of my clients' 3-pack listings. Okay, now 3-pack and Google My Business is the same thing. Google My Business is the dashboard that manages your 3-pack listings. All right, and I'm going to answer questions too. I mean, I see a lot of questions coming in, but they're kind of sporadic and not really relevant to what I'm talking about right now. So I'll stop and pause periodically and answer them. So stick around because I will get to them. I'm sorry if I'm skipping them right now, but I just don't want to get off topic. We're already a half hour in and I've got so much more to cover yet. But before we go on, I mean, are you guys liking this stuff so far? Give me some 4s. Is this good stuff? 4s in the chat box. Good stuff? Awesome. Lots of 4s. Great. I just want to make sure we're on the right track with things and that you're getting a lot of value out of this. All right, so this is where you'll manage all your listings. And when it's time to add in a new listing, like you pick up a new client or you decide you're going to go the lead generation route, you log into your account, google.com/business. You click this plus sign, and then you click this little map marker icon that says add a location. Okay, this is going to bring up a map. And it's going to allow you to search for the listing because in some cases, your customers' listings will already be there, right? They'll already be there because Google scrapes like other data sources, other aggregators like Yellow Pages, and they'll automatically create listings sometimes for your customer, but those listings won't be set up. They'll just be like dormant, laying there. So sometimes you'll want to check that in advance. And the way you do that is you hop in here. You can either type in the name or the address or the phone number of the business, and it'll pop up if it's there. So let's try something. Cornerstone Dentistry. Okay, I think it's Cornerstone Dental West Bend. Yeah, there it is. Cornerstone Dental West Bend. Click on the listing. It'll ask you if these are the right details. If they are, you just click it. If not, then you'll have to click this one, but we'll go over that next. Let's assume they are right. Let's click it and see what happens. It's going to ask if we're authorized to manage this business, and it's going to have us agree to the terms of service. So obviously you need to make sure that you've already, are working with the client, or otherwise it's a listing of your own, and then you can continue on, and it's going to start setting up the Google My Business account for you. And here's what's going to happen. It's going to ask you to verify this listing, and in most cases, it's going to want to mail it, but sometimes you can get away with having them call. Okay, but most cases, it's mail the code. So what happens is it takes a week or two for that code to come in the mail, and then you just tell your client, hey, when you get that postcard, give me a call and we'll get the listing set up. And then you take that PIN number and you verify the listing and you're ready to start optimizing it. Okay, so that's kind of one scenario that you'll see. Let me show you another scenario. So another scenario that you'll see is when you start typing in the listing and you pick out one of them. Okay, that one didn't work. Let's try this one. Pick out one of them. It looks the same, but when you click it, it says someone else has already verified this listing. So that means that the business owner or they had someone else work on the listing and it's already been verified. So what you want to do in this scenario is click this blue button and go through the steps so that you can get access to manage that listing. So it's a pretty straightforward process. Okay, last but not least is if you can't find your listing, you'll have to click this doesn't match, add your business. And this is where you'll create a listing from entirely scratch, from, ground zero, so to say. So the way this works is pretty straightforward. Now, if you're doing a lead generation listing, you want to do everything generic. So if you're going to work in the snow plowing industry, for example, I might call the business name Affordable Snow Plowing. So at this point, when the phone rings and Bob Snow Plowing picks up the phone and says hello, it really doesn't matter who picks up the phone at that point because Affordable Snow Plowing is pretty generic, am I right? I mean, they're just going to hear snow plowing, the customer, and they're going to say, here's my address, can you come out and do my driveway? Give me some threes if that makes sense. I want to make sure everyone's following. And by the way, you don't have to do the lead generation route. It's optional. I'm just giving you options. If this is a real client you're working with, if you're going to start off working for your brother or something like that, then type in their company name. Okay, next up is the address. And you guys already know the rules here. It has to be a legitimate address, cannot be a P.O. box. Just type in 123 Water Street. If you're using a mailbox rental, you should either type in the number sign or just spell out the entire word suite is fine too. So up to you. Type in the city, the state, zip code. I actually don't know the zip code of this address or if it's even a real address, so let's look. Okay, North Water Street, 53202. All right, there we go. Business phone number. Your tracking number is going to go here. Now, if you're working with a client and you haven't set up a tracking phone number yet, it's okay to use their phone number. You can always change it later. It's not going to hurt anything. But otherwise, you would punch in your tracking phone number here. Okay, and then this part is categories. Now, Google has predetermined categories that they already want you to use. You can't just make them up. So you can find what those are by starting to type them out and looking for them. So when you start to type out words that you think people might be searching for, like heating, it'll list what they have. And then you should write them down on a notepad. Show you a couple more examples. Right? Write them down on a notepad. We'll use those later on for keyword research. But just pick one for now. Next option is, do you deliver goods and services to customers at their location? So obviously a snow plowing company or whatever. I should probably put snow plowing. A snow plowing company is going to do that, so we would hit continue. Now we can type in the areas we service. We can do that either by typing in each individual zip code, or what I prefer to do, it's much easier, is just type in like 20-mile radius around the business. And you can ask your client suggestion on that if you want to ever change that. Now, some businesses are going to serve customers at their own location too, like a florist, right? They're going to have people coming in to buy arrangements. They're going to be delivering for special occasions or weddings and stuff like that too. So they might check this box because they do both. But if you're doing a lead generation listing, please note that you want to leave this box unchecked because otherwise your address will show up in the search results. And you don't want people showing up at your mailbox, do you? That also brings up another good point. If you're doing lead generation, you have to be careful about the niche you select. Don't go selecting a dentist as your niche. Does that make sense? Why wouldn't we select a dentist as our niche if we're just going to do the lead gen route? Common sense. We don't want people showing up at the mailbox to get their, root canal done, right? It's easy to overlook, but these are things I want to point out. So go with a service-based industry where they travel to the home if you're going to go the lead gen route. All right, so that's it. You'll see Okay, it's going to ask if this is what I meant. I didn't, so I'm going to click I didn't mean that. And then you're going to see the same exact thing. It's going to trigger the verification process. Now, I'm not going to go through this again because I just showed you it on the last screen, but I think you guys get the point. So let's stop and take a quick question break. I'm going to grab a sip of water, and then we'll continue on, but I want to make sure everyone's following along. So put in your questions, and if I don't get to them all, I'm really sorry. There's a lot of people on this call right now, and we've only got so much time, but I'll do my best to answer anything that you need. So go ahead and throw it in. Yeah? Yeah, great question. So if you're going to use the company's address, it really comes down to client getting, okay? At the end of the day, it depends. How do you want to get your clients? Do you want to make a deal with that client ahead of time and have to talk to them? Or do you want to not have to talk to anyone, start generating the leads ahead of time, and then just sell the leads? That's really the difference. Because when you set up your own address, you don't have to use the clients, which means you don't have to ever talk to a client ahead of time. You can do the work ahead of time, start generating the leads, and then here's what you do. Let's say I ranked a listing for I don't know, let's just say plumbing in Milwaukee. I ranked a listing for plumbing in Milwaukee and called it affordable plumbing services. And it's generating 30 calls a day on my tracking phone number. All I need to do is go into Google and type in plumbing Milwaukee, right? And maybe I'll go into the yellow pages and find someone, you know, who's not ranking on the first page. All I need to do is find someone I think I might want to work with. Maybe this guy. Forward the tracking number to him. Send him a few good leads and follow up with him later on. Now the cool part is Callfire and Twilio, they let you set up this feature on their phone called the Whisper feature. And it's really neat. This is how I sold all of my leads back when I first started and I was afraid to talk to people. What I did was I set up this Whisper feature on my tracking number and I said, this lead was provided to you by Paul James. So before they got transferred the lead, they'd pick up the phone, they'd say hello, and then it would say, this lead was provided to you by Paul James, and then they'd be transferred to the customer. Now, I sent them a few leads, a few good leads. I made sure like that they were on the phone for, 45, 60 seconds. And then what I would do is I'd follow up with them, and I'd say, hey, it's Paul James calling. Now, do you think at that point a light bulb goes off in their head? Absolutely. They start to think, hey, you're the guy that's been sending me the leads, aren't you? Right? And then I say, yeah, let's make them continue. $30 a call, $50 a call. Let's keep this going. Once they have the leads, it's like chopping their own arm off to make them stop. So that's the difference. Whether you're going to go out and rent a mailbox or whether you're not. Do you want to talk to clients ahead of time and get paid first? Or do you want to prove yourself first because you're new and starting off and own your own asset entirely and just sell leads? They both have their pros and cons. So great question, though. I hope that helps. Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and move on then. I'm glad that we got that question though, because that's a really good one. So, was there something else, Anthony? Sorry. All right, cool. Just look for any patterns that you see, ones coming in often, and we'll address those ones because since those will be most important. Awesome. So let's talk about optimization. I mean, just creating this listing clearly isn't enough. You can't just create a listing and then you're ranked. There's much more to it than that. But let's talk about how to figure that out because it's actually a lot easier than people make it out to be, and that's why I like the 3-pack. The bottom line is you really don't have to do a lot to these listings. There's a lot you can do, and I'm going to show you some of those things, but realistically, you only have to do a couple of these things in most cases if you're targeting a low competitive niche in a low competitive market, which is why I prefer to do that. So I'm going to pop into one of my listings here, and I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do. So the first thing you want to do is you want to hop into this edit button. And now you'll notice these listings get high traffic. I mean, we're down 30% this month on this listing, but we're still at, 1,500 views. It's insane, right? 77 clicks. It's just absolutely insane. Now, truth is, I haven't touched this listing in probably 2 years. So it's actually crazy. And I actually didn't do much to this listing even. I did stuff that normally I would do much more with a listing. And in this listing, I didn't do a whole lot to it. But I'm going to show you what you want to do. So we're going to hit this edit button. So the business name, you really should never need to touch this. You know, the business isn't really going to change its name. The address, you know, this obviously you really don't need to touch either unless they move or something. Now, if they do move and you need to change the address, it kind of sucks because you have to re-verify the listing again. So avoid touching the address unless they move. Contact info. Pop in here and throw in your tracking phone number. Throw in the website that you own. Categories. This is what I was showing you before. Add as many categories as you can that are related to what you do, okay? Now, this is very good the way Google describes it because this is important. Categories describe what your business is, not what it does or what it sells, okay? So you're a heating contractor, you're not a furnace, right? So hopefully that makes sense. Add as many in. Now, some niches you're only going to find one that fit. Other niches you'll find 6, 7, 8. Just depends. Hours. Add in your hours. This particular client of mine is 24 hours. So it's 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. And if they had different weekend hours, we could add those in too. But they don't. So introduction. Now, this is one of the places I really skimped out on when I did this listing. But that being said, it's already ranking, and I'm not one to want to fix something that's not broken. You know, once it's ranking and it's there, I'm not really touching it. I don't want to mess with it at all. But if I were to do this listing over again, I would put 300 to 500 words in here and definitely make use of this content. Whenever Google gives you something that they allow you to put content in, you want to make the most out of it. You want to put in that content. So keep it optimized, but don't have it be spammy. And that brings up another point when it comes to content. Don't ever copy content. Don't ever spin content. If it's spam, you're going to get hit by one of the updates, guaranteed. None of my listings ever get hit because I don't ever do anything like that. I don't ever go around and spin content. But the people who are whining about the latest Google update, it's because they do stupid things like spin content. And that's fine. It's temporary results, but then don't whine when you get hit with a penalty, right? So that's just one thing that I've noticed. So you want to get this to say 100% completed is the bottom line. Whenever Google gives you a place to add in content, get it to say 100% complete. Next up is reviews. Reviews play an important part in the listing, mostly for conversions because you want that 5-star rating to show up. Like, it doesn't show up here. So if I were to create a listing in dentistry in Menominee Falls and I were to have a 5-star rating here or any star rating that wasn't bad, I'm going to swoop up all of those calls right out from underneath everyone else. It's going to knock out my competition. So not only is it going to boost conversions, but it can also help your ranking too. Now, here's the thing with reviews. They're actually fairly easy to get. This is what I like to do. I tell my clients that if you find someone who has an Android device, which is owned by Google, get them on their Maps app right then and there if they're happy with your service and ask them to leave a review. If you have to offer a discount or whatever, doesn't matter, get them to leave that review for you and have them do it on the spot. Now, here's what's so powerful about having them do it from a mobile phone. It's always connected to a different IP address and it's always on an aged account because in order to even use your Android device, you have to have a Gmail account tied to it, at least the last time I checked. And that being said, they don't even have to sign in. They just have to go to the Maps app, the app that you use for navigation, and type in the business name, and it'll pop up, and you can leave your review right then and there. So that's important. You need to get at least 5 of these to trigger that rating. You know, I don't care if you have to get your friends or family members to help you do this, or have their friends and family members. Get it done, and it's going to help you out tremendously. Next up is photos. Now, again, this is a spot where I really skimped out on this listing. And most of it is because Google didn't have all these other spots when I created this listing. But depending on what kind of business you're running or you're creating for, they're going to have different types of photos. They'll have a set of product photos, a set of team photos, additional photos. Now they tell you exactly what they want in here. They want at least 3 photos. If they're asking for at least 3 photos, you better put at least 3 photos in there. They're telling you exactly what they want, so do it. So one thing I like to do is I like to rename the file names to my keywords. Okay, so if I'm trying to rank for heating contractor Milwaukee, then I rename the file name to heating contractor Milwaukee, and then I add it in. Now I also do something else pretty unique. Let me show you this. After I upload the photo, I come into it. I come over to photo details and I click add a location, and I punch in the company's address here, or my mailbox address, which is going to plug in my geolocation. It's going to geotag the photo so that Google has absolutely no doubt of the area that I service. And it's just a little extra boost. Okay, so that's a cool little tip for you. You should definitely do that as well. So that's it for optimization of the page. And in some cases, this is enough to boost you up and to do really well. But in other cases, you have to start looking at doing things on the website and doing off-page optimization and doing citations. So let's cover citations. That's kind of the next logical step to go to, because it's the next easiest thing to do. So a citation is simply the name of the business listing, the address of it, and the phone number. So it's abbreviated NAP. And when you have that information on other directory sites like Yelp, like Angie's List, like Merchant Circle, Google considers that like a backlink for the 3-pack. It's literally kind of like a backlink for the 3-pack. So you might be asking, how do I know which citations to go after? And there's a couple different approaches at this that you can use. So one of them is to go to this site called Moz.com, and you can actually just Google Moz citation by category and it'll pop up. They'll actually tell you what the top citations are in each different industry. Like if you're targeting dentists, it'll tell you what the top citation sources are for dentists: Yelp, Yellow Pages, YouTube, Health Grades, Super Pages. So when you take your dental client and you put their business name, address, and phone number on Super Pages, Google is going to give that the most weight out of anything else you can do. You can also separate it by, that was the wrong page, by city. Now this is only going to work for the US because they've only broken down the US cities. But that's not to say that citations don't work in other countries, because they definitely do, and I'm going to talk to you about that as well. So let me pull this up on my screen. I'm going to show you the other way we go about doing it. So first off is if you just want to go after the top citations, I just use this guy. I found him on Source Market. He does a good job. It's $20. He'll go after 50 of the top citations for you. You know, start there. It's a good starting point. So this guy's name is Smart SEO. I've short linked it. It's pauljames.com/citations if you want to just head right there and look at it. Otherwise, just search his name, Smart SEO, and he's on Source Market. So $20, he'll get you started with that. Otherwise, if you like to dive in a little bit further, just like we did with the backlinks to reverse engineer what they're doing with that, we can also reverse engineering what they're doing with their citations. So, and I'm talking kind of fast because we're already approaching an hour and there's still kind of a lot to cover. So I'm just going to keep moving along here, and we'll of course have a replay for you too. So the local citation finder will allow you to plug in your location, your key phrase, search, and it'll pull up what your competitors are doing. Now let me find an old search for you. I'm just going to find an old search that I can bring up and show you. Okay, so here's a good one. So this one was for wedding planners in New Jersey. What it's going to do is it's going to break down the top people who are ranking in Google Maps, and then it's going to break down over here how many citations those people have. So the top person has 31 citations. Now, you can pretty much get an idea of how many citations you're going to need just by taking the average of the top people who are ranking. That being said, just like backlinks, all citations aren't created equally. Some citations are worth more than others. And again, you can use the Moz thing to determine that. Or you can actually just go into your competitors and click View Sources and see which ones they have specifically. So now I specifically know exactly which ones to go after, and I can export this as a CSV file. So that's whitespark.ca, and that's their local citation tool, which is pretty cool. All right, any questions? Let's pause and take another question break. All right, how do you find citation sources in the UK? You can use Whitespark to do that. Whitespark will work in any country, actually, which is cool, at least as far as I know. It's worked in every country, I think, that I've worked in. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you guys can definitely check out the replay again. But basically, I like to go into directory sites like Yellow Pages, and I type in mailbox rental in my location that I'm searching, and I look for stuff that aren't franchises, like not the UPS store, but stuff that's lower key. Things like laundromats, things like storage units, stuff like that. Like these places are good. Mail and More, Wrap and Ship, Suburban Mailboxes, Modern Methods. You can oftentimes find a mailbox rental for $30 every 6 months. Regarding the duplicate Google My Business listings, that's a great question, and I'm glad that we can address it because that'll keep you from not ranking. It'll keep you not showing up in the 3-pack if there's duplicate listings out there. So the way you want to handle that is you want to claim them all. Okay, now I've got tons of them in my account here because I've been using them as examples. But what you want to do is you want to claim them all, verify them first too. So claim all the duplicates, and then after they're claimed and verified, you can click Manage this location. You can come up here in the left-hand corner, come down to Settings, scroll all the way down and delete it. So you want to make sure that you delete that from Google's index entirely. So they'll ask you some questions, and you definitely just want to go ahead and do that. So the one that you want to keep should obviously be the one that's getting you the best results. The one that has either the most content or the one that's ranking the highest. That should be the one you keep. Claim all the other ones and delete them. And the same goes for citations. I mean, you want to go and correct your citations out there. If you have a citation that has, the old phone number, or you need to update it with your tracking phone number, you need to go and do that. And that's part of the reason why we charge a monthly fee, and quite a steep monthly fee, right? Because there is some work to do. So you definitely want to make sure you do that. All right. Awesome. Well, let's hop into some keyword research quick and talk a little bit about that. So I like to do keyword research a certain way. I like to stop in here and go into my all locations, and I like to punch in 4 or 5 cities near the city that I'm targeting, along with the city I'm targeting, to get kind of a big spectrum of exactly what I'm looking at. Because chances are good, if I'm finding a keyword in Brookfield that's 10 miles away from Milwaukee that's ranking good, then that keyword is also going to give me some good results for Milwaukee too. So you want to hop in here, punch in your cities. If you're not familiar with the area, you can just use Google Maps to find the 5 biggest cities around the area you're targeting. Type them in though, like this. And then we're going to save that. And right here where it says your product or service, this is where we're going to type in things that we think people would be searching for if they were looking for our client. So I like to start with the categories, like HVAC contractor, heating contractor. You don't need to put the geomodifier in because we already specified the geomodifier in the targeting. So you can just leave the city name off of it. Furnace repair service was one. air conditioning, repair service. And then I just start making stuff up too, like things that I would type in if my furnace broke. So I might type in heating and cooling, I might type in heating company, I might type in heating and air conditioning, I might type in furnace repair company. So you get the gist of it. I would do this a lot. I would go in and put in like 25, 30 different ideas. And then I hit get ideas. And then I hit keyword ideas. All right, and then here is where we really determine what keywords we want to go after. Now, you want to spend a lot of time on this part because this will determine like how you're going to rename your photo names and stuff like that and what keywords you're going to use. This is what's going to determine that, is this process right here. So there's two columns that I really like to look at. Number one is average monthly searches. Number two is suggested bid. That being said, there's kind of an order of operation that I follow. And the very first thing that it has to pass for me to choose it as a keyword is it has to pull a 7-pack. So if I go and type in heating and cooling into Google and it doesn't pull up a 3-pack, I'm still used to the old one, and it doesn't pull up a 3-pack like this, then I don't consider it. But this one does, so I would consider this one. The next thing I look at is monthly searches. The higher the better, 140. Now, I don't only use this metric because when Google doesn't have enough data, I notice they default to the number 10, or they'll put like one of these little dashes through it. And that to me signifies that they don't have enough data to give you an accurate number. And I've seen this proven time and time again because we've ranked a keyword for something where it says it only gets 10 searches and then we end up getting like 40 phone calls from it. So instead, I use another metric to fall back on when these numbers are 10 or when they're just not giving me real good results. And that is the suggested bid metric. This tells me how much people are paying to be listed for heating and cooling in AdWords. So if I were to type in like heating and cooling and I was from Milwaukee or something like that, and I'm not getting any ads for this one. Let me find something that I can get an ad for. Okay, so if I were to be typing that in and there were ads that popped up here and here, it tells me that people are paying roughly $8.69 in that particular example for that ad placement per click. Now that's just a click. That's a competitor comes and clicks on the site to be nosy. That's not even a call. So that lets me know also that it's probably a good keyword. So I go through and I make a list of 6 to 7 of these that I really like. With good search volume, they pull 3-packs and they have good suggested bid. And I use that to, optimize my pictures and stuff like that. Does that make sense? Give me some 2s in the chat box. All right, cool. So I see a lot of people asking about a replay because I know we covered a lot. And we're definitely going to have a replay for you. And we're definitely going to stick around and answer a lot of questions. But we're already at the top of the hour, and I'd like to offer you a chance to join my program, actually. And this is totally optional, but I think you'll really benefit of it because I put a lot of time and work into this, and there's been a lot of success stories out of it. There's been a lot of students who were just like you, came into one of these webinars, ended up joining my program, and went on to build 6-figure businesses. There's guys making 15 grand a month recurring from the stuff that they learned inside, and they were able to quit their jobs. And I'll tell you more about them, but first let me just kind of show you the rundown on the program. And I'm not going to hard sell you or anything. This is something, if you want it and you want to do this and pursue this business model, then great. And if not, I understand too, but I really think you should consider this business model because this is something that you can use to actually build a real business that you can use and pass on to your kids one day or something like that if you wanted to do that. This is like a real sustainable business. And it's easy to sell because every business owner out there needs leads. There's no doubt about it. Every business owner wants more business. It's just like the easiest sale. And if you go the lead gen route, it's not like you're selling anything. It's kind of what's amazing about it. But I'm just going to walk you through it. Now, the very first thing I'm going to tell you about this program is this is not just another informational course. This is a community. Maps Mentor 2.0 is a community. It's a forum community. And by the way, this is 2.0. I don't have permission to access my own community. I guess I better log in. So this is 2.0. This is something completely different. There's actually, there's not been like a ton of people who've had access to the new content yet, because I just got done shooting a bunch of content for this course. But what you have inside of the community, and I can show you, just 1 hour ago, Sam Walker actually joined us inside of the forum and posted inside just 1 hour ago. So we've got this community here of people to support you and help you along the way. And we're almost reached 1,000 members in this community. So that's why Maps Mentor 2.0 is like the cutting edge of what we're doing here, because it's not just a course. It's not just a step-by-step blueprint. Although it's that too, it's much more than that. It's the support community, and that's what really separates us from anything else out there. That's why we get the success stories we do. It's very step-by-step. Start here. Do this. Do that. You know exactly how to do everything from start to finish. And everything is laid out for you. I mean, there's done-for-you funnels in here. There's so many suggestions on how to get clients if you're going to go like the client getting route rather than the lead gen route. But I'll just kind of take you through it and show you exactly what's included. Now, I'll put a link up here too if you guys want to just hop in right away. I know many of you are probably dying to get in. And if that's something you want to do, here's the link. But I encourage you to stick around and watch exactly what I've put in Maps Mentor 2.0, because I know there probably 99% of you here have not seen this yet. But it's mapsmentor.com/local-leads special is the link that we set up. And this is a special link. No one else has access to this right now other than existing members and you guys, because you're a purchaser of local leads or mobile leads. So we're giving you access to this. But let's jump into this. So the Start Here module is going to break everything down for you. It's going to help outline the pluses and minuses of lead gen versus client SEO. It's going to show you how to pick out a domain. Sometimes we like to use age domains rather than buying a brand new one because it'll help us rank quicker. And I show you how to do that as well. It's going to show you how to set up call tracking in the different platforms and exactly how to set it up with the whisper feature, with the forwarding, with the reporting. Shows you all of that from start to finish, which is good because it's definitely good stuff to know. We cover research, which show you low-hanging fruit niche selection. We break that down in even more detail. I show you how to structure your website so that the main factor of them ranking is in your asset, because that's important, right? If they don't pay you, you can stop the leads coming in immediately. I show you how to do advanced keyword research. I show you how to map that research out. I mean, these are live videos. Like, this is me starting from start to finish, exactly step-by-step how to do this. It's kind of like attending a college class and having the professor sit down next to you and say, watch over my shoulder. I mean, you can literally see this video is over my shoulder of me mapping out a website on pen and paper. I show you how to write the content, how to outsource it, how to set it up, how to put it into your website. Speaking of the website, if those of you who have never set up hosting and stuff like that, I cover that too. Those of you who already know how to do that, skip that video and go to linking the silo together. I show you on-page SEO recommendations and how we set that up. I also show you what kind of website themes I use and how I get them set up quickly. I walk you through the dashboard and show you the advanced techniques that you need if you're going to get a listing set up from start to finish. I show you how to add in photos from start to finish, how to go a step further and add in videos, how to get reviews, how to complete the listing, dealing with duplicate listings. Some people were asking questions about that earlier. So we covered some of that stuff. Let's go into off-page. This is the really powerful part of the course because, again, you want to control the website. So this is Backlinking 101. Everything that we didn't have time to cover today is in this module. Now, Backlinking 101 explains exactly what backlinks are, exactly what Google wants to see, exactly the strategies I'm using to get these first page rankings. I show you how to spy on your competitors and basically steal their backlinks. I show you how to stop them from doing that same thing to you, because naturally, if you're smart, you're thinking, well, what's to stop them from stealing my backlinks? Well, I show you how to stop that too. I show you how I build a PBN and how I qualify a PBN. That's a private blog network, by the way, which is a very powerful strategy so long as you keep it hidden and don't let anyone else have access to it. And you do that by blocking bots and crawlers. So I show you how I qualify that. I show you how I find those domains. I show you how I find drop domains for $2. Okay, drop PBN domains with high domain authority. This is stuff that I haven't seen many people talk about. I'll show you how to do it. I brought in an expert, Patrick Babakanian, it's a mouthful. I brought him in because this is the guy I buy my domains from and have him set up my private blog network when I'm not able to do it, when I'm too busy. So he spent 45 minutes with us outlining exactly how he does it. So you'll learn stuff from that. I let you watch over my shoulder as I build a PBN from start to finish. Okay, literally start to finish. I show you some Ninja 301 redirect strategies that I use to boost my citations, boost my listing. If you ever get a listing that's having trouble indexing or not sticking and it's just not ranking, I show you how to do that with this Ninja 301 redirect strategy. I show you how crowd searching and social signals can rank a listing almost by themselves. Now, I didn't show you this before, but if you were to go on Whitespark and you were to analyze my HVAC contractor Waukesha listing, you would see that I have the least amount of citations and backlinks of most of my competitors, and it's because of this fact alone. I ranked it with almost doing nothing but this. So it has all of this stuff in here, and it's really optional if you do all this stuff or not. I just wanted to give you the full spectrum. I wanted you to know how to do these citations, right? I wanted you to know how to do the crowdsourcing and social signals if you wanted to do it. But then we go into the client getting aspect of it. Now, I've got students in here who are doing really, really well, and this is the advice I gave them in this video, and they followed my advice, and you'll actually learn about them when you visit that page. They did video interviews with me, and they all took that advice. That's one thing that all 4 of them who are doing this full-time did. They took my first advice that I gave them about client getting and followed it. I show you how to illustrate your value proposition. This is great for putting together proposals for your clients. I show you how to get Ninja website leads using if this, then that. I show you how to pre-rank a video if you want to show some results ahead of time. I show you a marketing analysis tripwire and let you download my exact funnel. You literally download it into your account and replace your company information on it. I show you direct mail strategy. I show you call tracking tripwire and let you download that funnel. I show you how I generate clients, not only for myself, but for my clients using Facebook ads. Really, really powerful stuff there. Interviews. These are the successful student interviews. I spent like 30 to 45 minutes with each one of these guys, and these guys are all doing insane. Lamont West went from working at a bank. He was a mortgage guy at Chase. Went from working at a bank, and in 9 months, took everything I showed him and quit his job. Literally quit his job, and he's doing this full time. Awesome. John Garofano, another great success story. I've actually brought him on a webinar before with me to talk about it. Paul Tuss, amazing guy, doing $15,000 a month recurring with maps. Jeffrey Pulling, also an amazing guy, did 6 figures in his first year. Paul, by the way, took 60 days to replace his income with what I taught him. 60 days to replace his full-time income. So I don't know, guys. The proof is there. I brought you through exactly what it is. This is the cheapest price that you're ever going to pick this up for. Anthony talked me into putting this on this webinar today at a lower price than I planned and feel comfortable launching it at, because we wanted to add some extra value for you guys. So what it is right now is we're running the special at just $147, and that gets you access to everything. There's 0 upsells inside. You get everything that I just showed you. You get the forum, and it's just an insane deal. And I guarantee you, I'm leaving this up for 3 days. So there's a timer on the page. When that timer hits 0, this deal comes down. So those of you who are watching the replay later when you come back are going to wish that you were on here live, because it's going to give you more time. But nonetheless, I mean, this is just an insane deal. I guarantee you this price will go up. This is Maps Mentor 2.0. No one has access to this stuff yet, except for just a few select people that I brought in. So there it is, guys. Any questions? Anthony, do you see any questions that are coming in frequently? Cool. Someone said, come on, please upsell us. I mean, if you want to pay us some extra money, I mean, I can give you my PayPal link. It's paul@directorscutllc.com. I'll happily take any extra money that you'd like to send me. But no, everything is included. I'm just going through questions. How much of this is relevant outside of the U.S.? Everything is relevant outside of the U.S. I've got clients all over. I've got clients in Sweden and New Zealand and Australia and Canada. I've got successful students over in those places. in Australia, Canada. Paul Tufts is from Canada, actually. So you can learn more about him. I would suggest checking out his interview. Let's hop over to the landing page of what you're going to see when you click that link. So when you click that link, you're going to hear from those 4 guys. You're going to hear just, some snippets from the interviews I did with them on how their lives were changed. Okay? Their lives were dramatically changed from going through this program. And I'm just hoping to do the same thing for you. I hope that you guys will come in here, and I hope that you'll take, action on this stuff and see awesome results. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay if you make mistakes along the way. That's fine. That's why we're here with the members forum. But you need to get out there and you need to do it. You need to do something different than you've been doing. I mean, if you're satisfied with the results you're getting right now, then that's fine. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you're not satisfied with where you are right now, then you need to do something different. I think it was Albert Einstein who said, those who do the same exact actions but expect different results are insane. And that couldn't be more true. You got to do something dramatically different in your life if you want a different outcome. And I mean, this has just changed so many lives. So, I mean, I hope that you'll come in and join us. Claudia says, tell us about that funnel again. There's lots of funnels. You can use the lead gen route, which is the easiest way, but we've also got some tripwires in there. One that has to do with a marketing analysis, one that has to do with call tracking, one that has to do with non-verified listings. It's a very powerful one. These funnels are all in there for you, and a couple of them I even have pages that you can literally download and plug in your company information on. Awesome. I appreciate that. Someone said that the information was great. I really appreciate that. How can I outsource some of this work and focus on the selling? I cover a lot of outsourcing stuff inside the course, like who I use to do citations, who I use to set up my PBNs, who I use to write my content. Outside of that, I can give you some really great tips right now. I use this site called easyoutsource.com. Okay, this is a site for Filipinos to apply, and I hire my workers off of here. The average going rate is $3.50 an hour, so you can hire someone part-time to start with. I hire them, and what I do is I use hubstaff.com to track their hours. It records their screen. This thing runs you like a few bucks a month, I think. It tracks their hours and records their screen, and I basically teach them how to do the repetitive stuff. So what I recommend you do is I recommend that you go through the training yourself and you set stuff up yourself. Follow my blueprint, because you really want to make sure you understand this stuff before you try hiring someone. Go through it, and as you're taking action on the steps, set yourself up with a screen recorder. Screencast-O-Matic is a good one if you need a free one and you've never bought one before. This one is free. Set up a screen recorder as you're taking action on the steps, and then each step you take, save it as a file or upload it to a YouTube channel somewhere, and then when it comes time to outsource that task, go to Easy Outsource, post your job, set them up on Hubstaff, and send them that video and tell them, this is what I want you to do. That's the easiest way I've ever outsourced my business, and that's one reason why I've been really successful at this. I've been able to do really, really well without having to take on a bunch of overhead, and I do it because I outsource smart. I scale smart. All right. Excellent webinar loaded with valuable info and no hype and hard selling. A breath of fresh air. I appreciate that. I'm not about hard selling and hype. I figure I like to use the value way of giving back. I mean, before I try to sell anything, I just like to give you tons of value, and chances are that you can imagine if this is what I give away for free, what's inside the course is just 100 times more valuable. So that's my philosophy, and that's how I've done business. And I think that's also why I've been really successful, is because, I know that if you guys like this stuff, you'll like what's in the course and you'll want to invest. So, all right. If you already have a marketing business online, would you recommend adding this service? Yeah. I mean, I also have other businesses that I run. Like I said, I got started off making my first $20 doing CPA marketing, but I was just able to really take things up a notch. Now, that's one thing I talk about a lot inside the course, is that you should have a funnel. You should be the solution for your business owners for everything. You know, if they come to you and they don't have a mobile friendly website, you should be able to correct that for you. And we address stuff like that inside the course too. We talk a lot about funneling people in. This is a good way to not only create a good business with maps, but you can branch off down so many different avenues with this, like Anthony and I have done. You know, we've done mobile websites, we've done text message marketing, we've done so many other different avenues that this branched off from, because there's so many cross-sell and upsell potential. All right. So someone's asking about targeting a foreign country and not having a business location over there. You can target anywhere you want in the United States. I worked with someone in the program last year. This was before 2.0 was released, so this was the first version of the course. And I worked with them, and they were in China, and they targeted New York City and landed a plumber. So you can target wherever you want. It doesn't matter. So if your market you think isn't good, target the United States or target Canada. I remember Paul Tufts, who was in Canada, targeted the mortgage industry, and he did some other, I think he did tree cutting. So there's just lots of opportunity. Someone else said best 90 minutes for the last 10 years. Well, I really appreciate that. Thanks so much. Awesome. Lorraine says just bought it. Thanks, Lorraine. I appreciate that. Who else is in? Let me know if you're in. Paul James helped me supplement my local offline business in my local community. Thanks, Sano. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. Sano did really well. Sano, do you care if I talk about your niche at all? I won't tell them where you're from. I'll just name off your niche if that's cool. Unless you want me to keep it hush-hush. I'll keep it hush-hush if you want. See, I remember my students too. I specifically remember Sano and what she's done. Sano hasn't responded, so I think I'll leave her niche on the down low. Oh, she said I can tell it. Okay. Yeah, she does bail bonds. So Sano did really well with bail bonds while she was going through some of my training. So awesome. Awesome. So William says possibilities of ranking in the 3-pack for online business locally. That depends if it pulls up a 3-pack, William. Just like the criteria I laid out earlier. If you do a Google search and it pulls up a 3-pack, then you can rank in it. That's all you need to know. All right, cool, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Again, this isn't something I plan on leaving up long. So you definitely want to go to that page now. Listen to the student success stories. Those are not paid actors. Those are real students. Those are real people who were on a webinar sitting in your seat, you know, just like you are. And hopefully one day you can be where they are and I can be doing an interview with you. That's my ultimate goal, is to do an interview with you. And, you know, hopefully I'll gather more success stories like that. There's tons of more success stories. Not everyone's comfortable getting on video, obviously, but those are the ones that stuck out in my mind. And I asked them if they would get on an interview with me and tell people about their success. So we'll get the replay up tonight, guys. Yeah, absolutely. Anthony is absolutely right. I mean, I can tell you that for the past month, I've woke up at 6 a.m. every morning and worked till midnight every night. And have been stuck at the computer putting together this course. So it's I definitely don't like selling it for $147. So I can tell you that right now. So definitely take advantage of getting in right now while it's cheap. It's you know, something that is just a no-brainer deal, and I think that you'd be really foolish to not take me up on this offer right now. I've had people in the past when I've initially launched something at a lower price who didn't think that it was really going to raise the price, and they were kicking themselves later on when they paid 2 or 3 or 4 times of what they could have bought it for. And if that's what it takes to make you take action, to have to pay a higher price, and that's fine, but I certainly would take advantage of the lower price now if it were me. But yeah, that wraps it up, guys. I mean, thanks a lot for being here. I know your time is valuable, and I appreciate it. And you know, feel free to watch the replay when it comes. Otherwise, just jump in, hop inside the forum, and say, hey, if something, if you have trouble with checking out, or if you have trouble accessing your purchase, you know, sometimes glitches happen. Hit up my support desk, paul@pauljames.com, and I'll get to you as soon as I can. We're pretty good with support. So, all right, guys, take care.